Evil always targets women first. I'm not talking about Adam and Eve, folks, even if you don't believe that. The point is, propaganda. Go read Hitler and Goebbels on women. Women run society. Men serve women in the final equation. Women create the babies. Women live longer. They have more money in the Western world. Oh yeah, women have more money than men. Women have always been in the catbird seat. Men think they're in control, but they're out there fighting and dying and striving in every culture. Women are the heart. Women buy over 80% of the goods. That's why most advertising targets women. Talk radio is an anomaly, mainly men. Women are targeted. Women want to be friendly. They want to get along. They want to be friendly. And here's a globalist Defense Department, New World Order, tracking AI, pre-crime, rolled out, face scanning to buy and sell, background check to buy and sell.
Is confidently recognized.
It's like, it's the fun. That's nothing to worry about.
Your deal based on your Facebook like history and deliver
life history. Oh, yeah. With that droning voice, when you're a trendy, when you talk about something really, really destructive, you kind of are allowed to get a little excited. So it's like life history. It's so fun.
All while checking you in.
Checking you in. All right, that's enough. Turn it off. Oh my gosh, it's hellish. Can you imagine being locked in a cell with somebody talking like that? All right, now. That's somebody that's never done anything, never been anybody, never actually seen anything. I'll guarantee you somebody talking and acting like that's never had 4 guys get around them in a dark alley and start pounding on them and had to find out who you are to get their butts kicked and get them off of you. I'll guarantee you somebody like that has never worked very hard in their life. I'll guarantee you somebody like that doesn't know their head from a hole in the ground. And that's what we've become, jellyfish to the New World Order. So, of course, they're moving on every front against us. Let me just stop for just a minute. I want to take a pause for a moment. Will you go to Prisonplanet Live, Paul Watson's site, and on that YouTube site, we've got that 3-minute promo for ProPure. I want to. This military news is so important. I want to get out of this floundering mode I get into, which is entertaining radio, I know, but it's literally my brain just going off in a million directions. So I need to. I need to pause here for just a moment. If you go to YouTube, guys, and all you got to do. You also have the ad loaded. I don't want the 9-minute one. I want the 3-minute one. You go to Prisonplanet Live. It's Paul Watson's. In fact, I'll just pull it up right here on this computer and I'll show you. I'll just do it myself. YouTube.com. Boom. Okay. You go there. Quickest way to do it is just type Alex Jones in. One of the channels linked on our big channel. You scroll down. Okay. It's going to show you guys where this is at. Paul Watson's Prisonplanet Live. And you just go there and you get it right off that site. Hell, I'll just put it into Google. I'll show you right now. Watch this, Prisonplanet. Prisonplanet Live. YouTube.com. Bam. And it pulls up Paul Watson's site. There it is. Okay. Go to his site. Go to rebroadcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here. I took a little break. I'm going to try to cover this news because every time I'm at an airport or on the street and somebody's in a uniform, everyone runs up and says, oh, I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for your service. And they just do it because it makes them feel good, like they're doing the right thing. Meanwhile, Americans hold less passports than anybody else in the world. Americans in major polls, I have a new one today, could care less about what's happening in the world or the military. In real polls, they could care less about you. And our military is not our military. It's openly run by foreign banks. They tell our military that NATO and the UN run our military. The bankers brag they've captured our country. So I thought I would break down for you why the troops are committing suicide en masse. Americans tune out of Afghan war as fighting rages on, Associated Press. And it goes through the fact it was once President Barack Obama's war of necessity. Now it's America's forgotten war. Yeah, because they said the war ended. You just tell people it ended, and it didn't end, but you know, you tell people burning down the Waco church ended in an assault, and they go, well, it isn't an assault. They tell you tasering you for no reason isn't torture, but it is. An Afghan conflict generates barely a whisper on the U.S. presidential campaign trail. It's not a hot topic at the office water cooler or in the halls of Congress, even though there are 80,000 American troops, not to mention more contractors than that are still fighting here and dying at a rate of one a day. You got to grow the opium. And it goes on to show public opinion against it, but don't really care. Now, I thought I'd just mention that because I happen to have military personnel and veteran suicide prevention numbers here from AFSP, and it goes over the rise in suicides in the last 10 years. It's been steadily rising. It's been steadily rising. There are more people committing suicide than are dying in all the conflicts. Now, let me explain what this is. It's a cocktail of things. They're killing a lot of officers and investigators, fragging them. The mercenaries and people are who report on corruption. That's a small part of it, but that's part of the numbers. They always call it suicide when they shoot you in the head in your trailer. A lot of the troops are doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tours. Their families are falling apart. Their paychecks won't pay for things. They feel bad about what they've done, so they're committing suicide. I mean, if you feel bad about military operations, you feel terrible no matter what the propaganda is, no matter how you've been lied to. You wake up, it's a fraud, and you kind of have a self-disposal switch. Your body says you're not good for the tribe, kill yourself. Your mind does it. You get depressed. When you could repent, get out of it like Pat Tillman was going to do and speak out against it. But instead, you just kill yourselves. Not a good idea. You should kill yourself politically, getting the word out, busting your butt to tell the truth. You should make it right. If you've had an abortion and you know it's wrong now, go out and fight to save lives of other children. Go out and adopt children. Don't kill yourself. That's a cop-out. That's a coward's way out. Now, the biggest reason that troops are committing suicide, because I've gone and looked at most of these cases. They've been in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tours, which they wouldn't even do in World War II, make you serve more than one tour. A lot of it really stressful door-to-door type stuff. It's really abusive policing stuff where you're hated, where you're seeing dead kids. It's horrible. And so what's happening is they're putting them on Prozac and other serotonin reuptake inhibitors and other experimental drugs. Other experimental drugs. And I have an article here called The Marshall Plan in a Wired magazine. The 40 years the man behind Pentagon insiders called Yoda has foreseen the future of war. And he says in the future it won't be what weapons but what drugs the troops are on. They're experimenting with a bunch of psychotropics, viral injections that reprogram the brain, you name it. And in most of the suicide cases, because I've gone and looked up a bunch of them, they were under psychiatric care and sent back out, and now their impulse control is removed by the drugs, and that's why they're killing themselves and others. I mean, the Prozac insert says it increases suicide psychotic activities. So that's what's going on here. We'll be back. So continuing with the epidemic of suicide by military personnel and contractors, when you do something immorally wrong, even if your conscious mind has been programmed by media propaganda, deep down you feel like crap. And that's why in our entire 236 years of the U.S. Army, it's 7-fold the previous record in the Vietnam era of suicides. You can look up the numbers. That's a sign that evil runs this country. And all the folks out there are like, hire a warrior, do this and that. No, we need to end these evil wars, and we need to get them off of big pharma mind control drugs. I mean, the head futurist at the Army, at the Pentagon, Andrew Marshall, a futurist, he's the one that decides to put them on psychotropics, halcyon, amnesics. I mean, they are putting them, and they admitted here, all these hundreds of drugs. It's called the Marshall Plan. For 40 years, the Pentagon's insider called Yoda has foreseen the future of war, from battlefield bots rolling over radar-proof ships to GI popping performance pills. All that was before the war on terror. And then they go over all of this. Is an article from 2003, by the way, 9 years ago. Okay? So everything you see in the newborn movie, when I saw that a few nights ago with the crew, it totally freaked me out because everything in it was real programs, just pieces of it. And they were showing you what they're really doing, including in the 21st century, they don't just give you pills. They inject you with viruses that will go in and destroy the areas of the brain that give you what you'd call the conscience to not kill a child, or not, or the natural governor to where you can't run 50 miles because you might have a heart attack. They just remove that, and they have injected troops with it. They injected troops, special forces with microchips a decade ago. I talked to family about it. Then when I brought it back up, just the fact that I'd mentioned that family told me that, they figured out who it was and got in their face. Now that person won't even talk to me. So they've put microchips in them. I mean, it's so far down the road, ladies and gentlemen. And they're using them like machines, that they're using them till the wheels come off. The globalists hate the military. And they know that they're a bunch of drugged up, overused people when they come back. So they either make them cops to oppress us, or they're saying they're the main enemy, put them all in prison. You know, they're terrorists. And I've got a National Guard article here where they're saying the homeland is the biggest threat in the National Guard magazine, and that the returning veterans are the biggest threat. So here's the military being taught that they are the terrorists in their own magazine. Don wrote a story about it in June. I actually saw it doing some research this morning and reprinted it. Can't find it now. But my main point is this. Here's an RT article. U.S. Army grants $3 million for anti-suicide nasal spray research. And it's a very powerful drug chemical that basically turns them into automatons that they shoot up their nose. And so they're just turning the troops into a bunch of drug heads who they can then say are mental patients or whatever down the road. They know exactly what they're doing, because the globalists absolutely hate America and hate our military. They hate them so much they're going to use them to take over the world while they soft kill them. And then separately, you can pull this up, CBS News, stress vaccine, don't worry, shot is on the way, says doctors. They already are giving these to the troops that, again, make them where they don't feel bad about what they're doing. And they're now saying that, oh, don't worry, we're going to give you a shot where you won't feel bad anymore. They're turning them literally into living zombies. I mean, we're living in a nightmare movie. You know, at about 40 after, in the last hour, I had to go off air. And it wasn't because I was mad at my crew because they couldn't find a 3-minute commercial to play so I could take a break. I was mad because I have all this data on how they're drugging the troops, killing the troops, hurting them. And it makes me angry that they talk all day about how much they love the troops when they actually hate them. And they're using them up like a natural resource. And they're planning to play them off against us in a civil war. And then I've got to articulate all this. And I've got all these documents and articles about how they're giving them cancer injections, how they're letting them die of DU.